Christy Fagan, how are you?
Good, Jamie. All good. Thanks. And yourself?
Yeah, great. Not too bad. Thanks for jumping on. What comes to mind for you if I ask you about FAI Cup Final week? Because the lads are getting ready for a big one on Sunday against one of your other old teams, Bows.
Yeah, I suppose, look, for myself personally, it's just good memories of it. The week building up to it, and I suppose throughout the season, you always had that excitement and that buzz because I suppose you know yourself more than anyone, the League of Ireland sort of community is small enough, and Pats is a fairly small and tight club, so you'd be constantly bumping into maybe people at the ground or fans and stuff, and you just get that sense of buzz and the build up to the games, and everybody's really looking forward to things. So good memories for me, yeah.
How are you feeling in both 2012 and 2014 in like the week? We're chatting on Thursday morning, so it's a couple of days to the Sunday, but how are you feeling yourself, and how do you think the lads will all be feeling now?
I think they'll be buzzing. I think they'll just want Sunday to be here already, really, and just get going, get to the Aviva, and sort of get the preparation underway. I'm sure training will be like kept sort of fairly low key, but fairly upbeat, and everybody will be sort of enjoying themselves this week and just getting ready for the game. But I think for me, I suppose 2012 and 2014, we would have been similar in terms of sort of how Liam would have prepared us, and everybody would have been just sort of keeping themselves fresh and ready for the game. But you would have just had that excitement and that sort of buzz, and we obviously would have known about I suppose how much it meant to everybody to try and get over the line and get the cup in the bag after such a long wait. So I suppose that all added to the build up for us.
Yeah, 2012 first of all, and we won't focus on that too much because it ended up in a 3-2 defeat after extra time against Derry. You scored in that game. What do you remember about it?
Just being good. Just, you get so close, cup final, I think, look, you're playing football from a young age. You know, look, finals aren't about losing. It doesn't matter how you win them. It's just get the job done on the day and lift the trophy. So, I suppose the biggest memory is just being absolutely good. But obviously, it fed into how we approached, I suppose, the 2013 and 2014 seasons and the sort of hunger we had just to get back there.
Yeah, we'll chat more about the league in 13 in a moment, but just to stick with the cup and move to 2014, and social media has been full this week with pictures and videos and stuff of that day and your goals and the celebrations after and all that sort of stuff. The second one particularly, if I ask you to describe the feeling, the mistake that led to you getting the ball, the age it took maybe to go over the line and then running to those St. Pat's fans and just going mad.
Yeah, look, if to try and remember it, I think the game was probably just closing out, really, and we were trying to just obviously keep the ball up their end of the pitch, really. And I think Jared Doherty might have pinged a kick out, and Sean just headed it straight back down the park. And I think I was actually offside. I think at that stage my legs had probably gone, and I just kind of let the ball bounce and tried to stay, I suppose, out of the way and not get called offside. But I'm not even sure that the defender now at the time, but probably his legs were probably gone a bit at that stage too, with just the adrenaline of the day, and it just sort of under hit the back pass, and I was lucky enough to get sort of half a yard and try get a leg in that managed to take the ball around Jer. But even as you said, the ball took an age to go in. I think just because I think my legs were probably cramping up as I hit it at that stage as well, and I'd missed a few just before then. So really delighted to see it go in, and I think it kind of just finished off that game perfectly, I think.
Yeah, and once it hits the net and everyone knows it's over, it's live on TV, of course, as well. So when you're watching the footage on the telly, it cuts to all the different, the managers and the fans and you guys on the pitch as well. But what was the moment like on the pitch when you knew it hit the net? Your legs were probably definitely gone at that stage, but you're also at that end of the ground right in front of thousands of Pats fans going absolutely mental.
Yeah, legs were definitely gone at that stage. But yeah, just I suppose it's just unbelievable feeling, I suppose, that you don't get in anything else, really, I suppose. And they're what I suppose them big days are all about, trying to get it over the line. And I was lucky enough to be to be able to, I suppose, score a goal and help the team, I suppose, achieve that on the day. But the feeling of just celebrating in front of the fans, obviously, as you said, you kind of just, I don't even really know what I did, to be honest. And you're just buzzing. And then I think just all the lads kind of just managed to find some energy to run 20, 30 yards up the field to celebrate with you. But it's just, yeah, it's an unbelievable feeling.
Yeah, spoke to Ger O'Brien on one of our podcasts and the lead in maybe to the semi-final. It could have actually been at the start of the Cup this year before the Bray match, and he just spoke about what it meant to, like, obviously the players and the staff, but what it meant to just volunteers in the club, supporters, when he's gone back to the Red Cow, like grown adults crying, Brian Kerr in tears on the commentary, like, and, you know, a number of years later now, you probably get to appreciate what those goals actually, and I know you scored them, but the whole team obviously had to play, but just what they did for people and their lives and how it made people feel.
Yeah, it was massive. Like, even like if we just think back to the 2012 final, like I suppose that was the first sort of time we had that build up where, you know, you would I suppose leading up to the game, we'd heard quite a lot about how much it meant to people, and, you know, there's generations of fans who would not experience Pats winning a cup and stuff like that. So, and there was a lot of talk, I think, at the time as well about it maybe adding extra pressure to the team and being, you know, sort of a burden on the lads. But I don't think it ever was. I think it was, we were definitely aware of it going in 2012 and 2014, but I don't think it was ever, I suppose, a burden or an extra weight on lads' shoulders. I think if anything, it just sort of gave us that connection, I suppose, to the fans and to the Pats community, and just sort of, you know, we really wanted to kind of get it over the line and win the cup, like, for everybody that's involved with the club.
Yeah, and for you, like, to know now and to know then that whenever anyone talks about the 2014 FAI Cup Final, you're the first person that they think about, has to be a nice memory.
Yeah, look, I'm grateful to be involved, and I suppose, as I said, I did the easy part, what I was on the pitch to try and do, which was just tap the ball into the net. There was nothing spectacular about it, really. I was just lucky to be involved with, like, if you go through some of the players in that squad, both years, like, unbelievable squads we had that Liam put together. So yeah, look, my name will be mentioned just because of the goals, but I mean, this team of players we had, the quality from front to back was different class, like.
Yeah, I won't ask you to remember the starting team, but I have it in front of me, and it's important to mention the other players, and of course Liam Buckley, the manager, as well. But, like, Brendan Clark, Ger O'Brien, the captain. You mentioned Sean Hoare involved in one of the goals. Kenny Brown, Ian Birmingham, who's getting ready for another final, still playing away. A midfield, Keith Fahey, Greg Bulger, Killian Brennan, and then King Conan Byrne, Chris Forrester getting ready for another one, and yourself, and then the couple of subs that came on: Lorcan Fitzgerald, James Chambers, Conor McCormick as well. Like, from a striker's point of view, to have players like that assisting you across your few years at the club. You said it's you that scored the goals, but those lads, a lot of the times, we're putting them on a plate for you.
Yeah, more often than not. I mean, I joke now, but I think you'll struggle to really find me scoring, you know, a Chris Forrester wonder strike or a 40-yard ping from outside the box. More often than not, I was tapping in from 2 yards, and that's just because of, I suppose, the quality I had around me. You had Conan Byrne, I suppose, firing balls in every game, you know, and then you had the likes of Killian Brennan, Keith Fahey, Greg Bulger behind, Forrester on the left that year. But as you said, coming off the bench, then there was quality. There was Chambers, there was obviously Mark Quigley was involved that year, if I'm right in saying that as well. You had Darryl Kavanagh and stuff like. So I like. It's credit to Liam, I suppose, as well, in terms of the quality he was able to assemble and put together, and that really sort of helped the team go on to have success.
So you got 2 in that final overall, and thanks to John Owens for these stats: 93 goals, Christy, in 229 games for the club, 64 of those and 175 in the league. What goals come to mind, stand out, if you think back about big St. Pat's goals that you scored, apart from obviously that final?
I'm not sure. That's a hard one, Jamie. It's obviously the cup final goals are the easy ones to go to, just because of, you know, the trophy at the end of it and what it meant to the club and to the fans and stuff. But I think aside from that, I suppose, like, the European goals, you have to kind of, look at and think, I really enjoyed those occasions. And then the goals are obviously a bonus on top of that. But I think European nights were massive, and like Richmond was always a good place to play on those nights, because we always got a decent crowd. And I think we always kind of, over those couple of years anyway, we kind of did quite well. Never obviously reached group stages or anything like that, but I think we managed to sort of get a couple of decent nights in that I think fans and players who were involved can appreciate when they look back on.
Yeah, 6 European goals. You're the all-time club's top scorer in Europe as well. And I think it was 4 in the 2012 season, almost in a row. And then you had a couple later, of course, and, you played in the big games, the likes of the Hanover game and Legia scoring against Legia and stuff as well. Like, they're moments that you look back on, I'm sure, with so much pride and happiness, and that when you're getting older and you're telling your kids, your grandkids, other people, if they're asking you about your football career, you can point to those moments, those goals, those places that you played in.
Yeah, very lucky. I suppose in the time I was at the club, that, as I said, the European nights we had, we got to, on a couple of occasions, get through 1 or 2 rounds and play in some of these, big venues across Europe, and the likes of Legia and Hanover that you mentioned, like really, really good occasions. And then, yeah, the goal, and I suppose in Legia was, again, I suppose getting another tap in, but another brilliant team move, and just the build up in the middle of the park and the ball, I think, by Keith Fatty and stuff to set it up. But obviously the build up to that earlier in that day and everything that happened, that's obviously I suppose a special occasion as well,
And you scored a brilliant goal in 2016 as well in Belarus, if I remember. I was actually at that game.
Dynamo Minsk.
And you were talking about, maybe scoring some goals in the box. That certainly wasn't one in the box.
But that's probably the only one you'll find, Jamie. There definitely wasn't too many of those. But yeah, that was, I suppose, another European goal I'd be proud of. And another trip, that when you look back on, you fond memories of. But yeah, another one to be happy with, that's in the collection.
Yeah, Jer spoke to Christy O'Neill during the lockdown in one of our podcasts, and they were talking about some of the mad places they were, Kazakhstan, and the food and all the places, because I think Christy's been probably on every St. Patrick European trip in the history of European trips. Where was your favourite? Where do you remember as being a nice place, a weird place, a strange place?
Do you know where? I was actually quite lucky in terms of trips. Like, I think the furthest we had, and somebody like Jer might correct me here now, was probably Shiroki in Bosnia. And it was just, the travel itself was just a bit of a nightmare. But I suppose the place and stuff was fine, and we managed to do okay in terms of the game. I think we came out with a 1-1 draw over there, maybe. But no, other than that, I've been fairly lucky. Like, I didn't have any of the Azerbaijan trips or anything like that. So I've been lucky enough to dodge those. And
we'll say in the team of cups, 2015 and 2016 EA Sports Cups as well. The 15 one went to penalties. Conor O'Malley, the hero in Galway, I think, if I remember correctly, you scored in that shootout, and then 2016 you scored in the final as well. So even though the EA Sports Cup wouldn't be the main cup you'd be going for, it was nice in those couple of seasons, having done the league in 13, the FAI Cup in 14, to win those two and be in the goals in both of those finals.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose it's one thing you'd be proud of, and I think any of the lads who were part of those squads, you're still chat to a lot now. You look back, you do have to appreciate, I suppose, we had a really successful period during those couple of years for the club with, as you said, the league, the FAI Cup and stuff, and a couple of league cups, and really, really good memories and good times.
The league in 2013, we've spoken about it with nearly every guest that we've had, particularly in the lockdown. We did loads of pieces with the likes of Conan and Killian and Brendan Clark and others. Like the Sligo game and the Greg Bulger goal and Richmond and all of that stuff is just like iconic memories.
Yeah.
You had a fight that year as well for your place at times with Anto Flood, and at times you played together, and there was a real, you spoke about some of the other players in the group as well. What do you remember about that season and I suppose the battle to be in the team, and then some of the maybe important goals you scored that ultimately helped the club to the league?
Yeah, so yeah, as you said, myself and Bisto, we're kind of going toe to toe really that year, and kind of 1 week I'd be in, 1 week he'd be in. But I think it was really beneficial for the team itself, I think, because we went on to win the league. But it was a really healthy competition. Like, myself and Bisto would get on really well, and so there would never have been any sort of any sort of throwing in the towel or anything from either of us, and we both kind of just pushed each other on, I think, throughout the season, and I'd like to think he'd say the same. But I just think it worked really well. I think, and Liam, to his credit as well, he probably managed it well, and that sort of picking who to play for which occasion and against which sort of defence or opposition we're coming up against. And I just think we both kind of knew our roles in the team, although we both probably would have wanted to play with each other or both play every week ourselves, but we both sort of knew we were contributing, I suppose, to the team, and kind of just kept our heads down and kept pushing each other on.
Yeah, because I remember across the time I've known Liam as well, I can't ever remember him starting the game with two strikers. It was always the 4-3-3 with the number 6, the Greg Bolger or the James Chambers or the Jamie Lennon in the middle, and then the two number 8s and the wingers. He always spoke about crosses and getting the crosses in, but it was only ever one striker. So when you and Bisto were fighting each other for the place, and I mean that in a nice way, there was only really room for one of you.
Yeah, that's it. As you said, look, Liam was fairly set in how he wanted to play, and I suppose we worked on it that much, and everybody knew the roles in that system. So yeah, me and Bisto knew, and we would have been well aware that, look, it's only going to be one of us on a Friday night or whenever it is, a Tuesday night, whenever the game might be. That was fine. We kind of just both got on with it. And as I said, I don't remember at any stage through that season where either one of us kind of let the heads go or kind of, threw the towel in. I think we both kind of just drove each other on, and it was, as I said, good, healthy competition that kind of helped the team.
And Christy, coming towards the end, then you got an awful injury in Alta training, which ultimately, led to you having to eventually retire. And we'll talk in a moment about what you're doing now. You're working as a physio, and you've gone on with the next stage of your life after football. But I haven't heard you talk about what happened and ultimately ended up having to stop a lot earlier than maybe you would have wanted.
Yeah, so it was just a freak accident, freak injury, really. As I said, it was in the Alps. I think it was a bank holiday, Monday training session, fairly low key, and just, I think we were doing maybe a shooting drill or a 2v2 drill or something like that, and just went to take a shot, planted my right leg, and my patella tendon just ruptured. So pretty painful, to say the least. But yeah, it was just unfortunate, and it was one of those things. Look, I've been lucky enough for, I suppose, the best part of 15 years to avoid any sort of serious injuries where I know plenty of lads who've done ACLs multiple times and all this sort of stuff and fractures. I'd had nothing really other than your small niggles that might keep you out for a couple of weeks here and there, but that was the first one, and that was the last one, really.
Yeah, like you're 32 now, and this would have been 2018, wouldn't it? So like you were 28 probably at the time, like very, very young to have to stop, and I'm sure that was so difficult for you because, as you said, it was just a freak accident. You've done those exercises in training thousands of times probably, and nothing ever went wrong.
Yeah, exactly as you said. Yeah, look, I mean, you go into a training session, you ping a ball around a couple of hundred times a session, and nothing ever happens. And that's essentially what I did. I planted the foot to take a shot on goal, and I suppose the knee just gave way. But I'm sure there was obviously underlying stuff building up to that over a number of years, maybe, and that sort of led to that point. And I probably just neglected and kind of played on and didn't maybe manage as best I could. Who knows? But yeah, at 28, look, it's not ideal. But look, you just get on with it. And there, I was lucky enough, as you said. I was doing other bits that sort of occupied me, and sort of, I suppose, the difficulty a lot of lads might have is that when you finish up and you just kind of go, where do I go now, or what am I doing? What's sort of filling my time? I was lucky enough, I kind of had something to fill that time and kind of occupy me, and I suppose I didn't have, although you miss it, I didn't have that sort of couple of months of searching for something to do.
So what did you find to do?
Yeah, so obviously before I got injured, I'd already been a couple of years down the line of my physiotherapy degree. So look, when the injury happened, I just kind of obviously was rehabbing. I rehabbed for probably about 15 months. But obviously alongside that, then I was probably full on in the books, put the head down and just kind of got over the line, and got my degree sorted and stuff, and then just joined the real world, I suppose.
So you're working full time now as a physio, and we actually had the pleasure of having Christy with us with the 19s for the UEFA Youth League. Last month, was it October?
Yeah, I think it must be about 3 or 4 weeks now. Yeah.
And how was it being in the Pats tracksuit as a staff member as opposed to in the Pats gear on the pitch? Was that strange?
Yeah, look, it was very strange. Even I was joking with Jared and that. I know Jared's been around the club and working for a long time, but the first leg, I suppose, was my first time really being back in that dressing room. So, yeah, strange but good. Like you're dealing with, I suppose, really talented 19-year-olds, a group of kids that are pushing now to get into that first team. So they're a good group, obviously, to be around, and obviously the staff, Shawnee and Jerry, yourself, that was on the trip, and Noel and stuff were great help to me to come in, and yeah, it was a week I really enjoyed.
And like, just to see the next crop, I know there are a few generations behind you, and you know they've had such a really good season as well, and I know you're working with Maynooth University as well, like to be able to help the next ones now in your new role, and I know you have your own practice as well, but from the football sense, being around it and still being in touch with the game, and you know, seeing, I suppose, on the coal face about how good the younger ones are coming through and stuff, that's nice you to be able to, even though you're working at it, to be able to be involved still and to give back, and hopefully you'll continue to do that because you've got a long career ahead of you in the medical profession, hopefully. Yeah,
it is. It's actually it's really, really nice, really enjoyable. I suppose for the first little while I probably didn't get involved in sports in sort of any capacity, and it's only probably the last 12 months that I've kind of, I suppose, got back in and helped out with, you know, different clubs and stuff, and as you said, Maynooth University. But it's great. I actually really enjoy, obviously, you know, I'm on the other side of the dressing room now. I'm a staff member, but you know, having chats with young lads who sort of have ambitions and are working hard to kind of make that step up, and I suppose it's nice to be there to be part of that journey. And I suppose if there's any sort of advice I can pass on, I suppose I'm always happy to do so.
Yeah, it was certainly great to see Christy working so close with the 19s away, and them being able to actually talk to you. I remember you were doing some strappings before the game in Serbia. I think it was with Adam Murphy or whatever, and you were just having a chat away. But you know, the kids themselves probably aren't aware of your full career when you went to United so young, and you know, a little bit of time in England and Scotland, Spain before coming back and scoring all the goals for Pat. So to be able to, and they say a physio and a patient have some sort of a special relationship when you're working with them, that I'm sure you can impart your wisdom and knowledge to the attackers anyway.
Yeah, that's, like as you said, that couple of hours before the games away in Europe, you know, you're locked away in hotel rooms and stuff, and I've been there as players. You're heading to the physio to try get yourself ready, strappings or robes, whatever it might be, bits and pieces, scissors, whatever it might be. But it's generally it's a decent place for the chat, and I suppose those couple of days away, look, yeah, as I said, they're a good group of lads that within that 19 squad, and it was good to kind of catch up and listen, answer as many questions as I could, and trying to, you know, and just be as honest and chat away to the lads and just listen to, I suppose, to their experiences and their ambitions and what they're trying to do.
Lastly, Christy, just to bring things back to now on the final, two of your former clubs, Bows and Pats, what do you think ahead of it? I'm sure I know you're working full time, but I'm sure you've been keeping an eye on results and maybe seeing some highlights and getting to some games. So it's a biggie for both. The first Dublin Derby final in 20 plus years. The last one was back in 2000.
Right, yeah. No, I'm really looking forward to it, Jamie. I think it's going to be a great game. By all accounts, looking at the last fixture between the two, which was quite open and quite an exciting game. I think hopefully the final plays out the same way. But look, you'll be hoping for a Pats win, of course, and I'll be there Sunday, obviously, to support the lads and hopefully see them lift the cup again.
Great stuff. Christy Fagan, thanks a million for jumping on. Fascinating insight into your time as a Super Saint. Best of luck with the new career, and thanks for all the goals and memories, and we'll see you at the Aviva on Sunday.
Cheers, Jamie. Thanks.